Naruto as a series has had many amazing and iconic fights, such as Rock Lee vs. Gaara, Naruto vs. Sasuke, Itachi vs. Sasuke, Naruto vs. Pain, Kakashi vs. Obito, and many more. All of these fights, beyond being fantastic on a technical and visual level, are filled with interesting themes and ideas. Many of these fights have been analyzed, but there is one that isn't often talked about, and that is the battle between Itachi and Sasuke against Kabuto during the war arc. So I thought I'd share everything that I found to be interesting. So with that out of the way, let's get right into it. So the premise is that a reanimated Itachi who broke free from Kabuto's control has to stop the reanimation jutsu without killing Kabuto. On the way he encounters Sasuke who tags along with him because he wants to talk to him, so they end up teaming up in order to fight Kabuto. There are a lot of different abilities that we see during this battle, from the Uchiha brothers' visual prowess to Kabuto's creepy snake sage abilities. Since they can't kill him, as it won't be possible to stop the reanimation jutsu, the condition to win is to outsmart him, trap him in a genjutsu, and then control him to stop the reanimation. Kabuto uses the Kekkei Genkai of shinobi from various clans, which allows him to attack in interesting ways, like when he uses the power of Kimimaro, the Sound 4, and then even Orochimaru. Itachi and Sasuke countering the attacks and working together is really cool to see. The jutsu that wins the fight is Izanami, which is connected to the Izanagi. Where Izanagi allowed one to change fate, Izanami allows one to settle or decide it. I found the explanation that Itachi gives to be pretty clear and thorough, and unlike the Izanagi, which just showed up, was explained, and then we got more context and background for it in the second time that it was used, the Izanami already has the established groundwork laid by Izanagi. So I don't find its existence to be that problematic. But if you do, I can understand that position. But what I found to be really interesting is how Izanami plays into the themes and ideas of this fight, which brings us to the main theme of this fight is the understanding and acceptance of one's true self, and this theme is portrayed by the parallels that are drawn between Itachi and Kabuto throughout this fight and also the exchanges that they have during it. Both Itachi and Kabuto were spies who had to put up false fronts in order to trick others. This led to both of them losing sight of their true selves. Itachi had to play the role of a madman and murder his clan to protect the leaf. He also had to antagonize Sasuke, leading him to be the one to judge him and be the one to take him down. But Sasuke, after learning the truth, developed hatred for the leaf and a desire to destroy it. This is why Itachi says many times that he has failed. However, Itachi accepts his failures in a humble manner and says this: to know oneself is not to achieve everything and not to become perfect. Instead, it is to become aware of what one is and isn't capable of. Kabuto asks if he's suggesting that one should just give up on what they can't do. Itachi replies, "No, I am not. It is simply to forgive oneself for what one can't do alone. It is because you can't do everything alone that you have comrades to help you. And also, one shouldn't ignore things that one can still accomplish." And finally, he says, if you want to know who you really are, then you must re examine and acknowledge your true self. Those who cannot and will not acknowledge themselves are sure to fail, just like I have failed. Now, let's talk about Kabuto. As a child, Kabuto was a war orphan with no memories, not even of his name. He was taken in by an orphanage run by an ex-spy from the Leaf. She is the one who gave him his name. Danzo manipulates both of them to spy for the Leaf and infiltrate various enemy villages. Years later, Kabuto kills her when she attacks him after failing to recognize him as a result of more manipulation and brainwashing from Danzo. This was a critical moment for Kabuto. Here he lost the person who had given him everything, and once again he became a blank canvas, not knowing who he truly was. Orochimaru takes him in and plants the idea that if he is dissatisfied with his past, he can find and take on other things, adding them to himself going forward. Once he gathers everything, he'll know who and what he truly is. This is, of course, derived from Orochimaru's own philosophy of gaining all the knowledge and abilities that exist, undergoing rebirth, and evolving towards perfection. This is what pushes Kabuto to seek out things from the outside and add them to himself in order to find out who he is. And now we have it, the two ideologies both leading to an understanding of oneself but in different ways. We see these ideologies clashing in two crucial exchanges between the characters. When Kabuto admits his jealousy over the Uchiha name, Itachi says that it is merely indicative of a bloodline and clan membership and that it is meaningless for Kabuto to claim it. Kabuto is angered by this because to him, who at one point did not even remember his name and had absolutely nothing, to him claiming a name does hold significant meaning. When Kabuto shows off about how he absorbed Orochimaru into himself, Itachi tells him that he isn't Orochimaru, and while it is fine to imitate someone you respect, he should not remake himself into Orochimaru to that extent. Kabuto responds by saying that most people start out by mimicking someone. Itachi's answer to this is that behavior like that is just a process to help one mature, and that Kabuto shouldn't deceive himself in this way. Attaching value to something external, even if it is admirable, will result in him gaining nothing. Moving on to the resolution of this fight, Itachi's use of Izanami is more than just a way to defeat Kabuto. Since the Izanami traps one in a loop until they come to truly accept and forgive themselves for who they are and finally recognize their true selves, its use here ties together with the themes and ideas of this fight in a really beautiful way. Kabuto is effectively shown a better path to what he was already seeking. Now he can finally understand who he truly is and move on without relying on anything external or not his own, and can finally stop lying and deluding himself. This also serves as a great character moment for Itachi as he gave Kabuto a chance to reform after seeing a shadow of his past self who didn't trust anyone, tried to do everything on his own, and who lied to himself and others in Kabuto, and thus knew exactly what Kabuto needed to be liberated from that flawed mindset. All of this led to Itachi successfully stopping the reanimation jutsu. And then, well, Itachi's final farewell to Sasuke and leaving the task of changing him to Naruto, that speaks for itself on how fantastic that is. So, that's all I have to say regarding what I found to be interesting and nuanced about the fight with Kabuto and why I think it deserves more appreciation for all that it did. I'll be seeing you guys next time.